Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for another Chelsea transfer special because, oh boy, this summer is going to be long, this summer is going to be draining, and this summer is going to be exhausting. But one thing is for sure, it will not be boring. My God, the things that are happening in the last 24, 48 hours is absolutely insane. First, me and Pice and who else was here yesterday? Mo. We were sat here saying, yeah, 95% done. Ugarte to Chelsea. What happens a couple of hours later? Ben Jacobs, Chelsea pull out of Ugarte race. But what happened before that? Oh, yeah, Chelsea apparently convinced Pice's Wi-Fi is back down. He will join again. Hopefully we can figure it out.
This comment made me laugh. It's been attacked by some Qatari hackers.
Bro, David, if you know something that we don't know about, please let us know, because poor Pice. Let me just text him. Maybe, where is it? Where is his DM? There you go. Maybe restart PC. Right. Because I'm not sure if you guys are into tech, but restarting is always your best course of action when something does not work anymore. But yeah, absolutely insane. Oh, Lewis has joined us instead of Pice.
Oh.
Pice will be back any second now. But yeah, it's all kicking off. Now, we were apparently investing in Sporting, which is why Sporting were telling Ugarte has to join us. But no one knew, did he still want to join us anyway? Or did he actually prefer PSG? All of a sudden, Chelsea pull out. Now, today we get the news. PSG were about to write to UEFA for saying this is some dodgy business. And I was like, all right, so basically PSG blackmailed us. So that's fun. I mean, that's what we get for screwing them over with Hakim Ziyech, I suppose. But yeah, who else can we get in midfield? Will we get anyone? Will we even have a midfield next season? Who the hell knows? Lewis, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. For God's sake, I appreciate it. For God's sake. It's very good. Mate, what a shit show is happening here. I know you are happy with a lot of the players leaving, whether it's Mount or it's Havertz, but at this point, I'm losing hope that we can get anyone. And like, as much as maybe you don't rate Mount and Havertz, it's also no good if we don't have a squad next season.
Yeah, but it's the 5th of June. This is the thing. Like, I'm not panicking just yet. Like, I've seen a lot of people who were like worrying about, are we going to panic buy or what's the next plan or anything. Like, there's definitely going to be other midfielders. We weren't even really looking at Ugarte until Poch came in. Poch was the one really pressing for him. So there's going to be other options. We didn't go in. We pulled out of the deal because PSG were offering more money. They were offering insane wages that we just weren't going to match. And you know what? We moved smart with this one. It's a shame we're not going to get Ugai, but there's other options there. I'm glad we didn't fleece ourselves. I know, like, we've been speaking about wage structures and issues for how long? And giving him 192k a week just adds to that. Like, if we go back to the Mason Mount situation, he's justified. If we're giving him 190k a week off the bat, what has Ugarte done? At least Enzo can say he's won the World Cup.
The problem I have with that is that we can't be sure whether that's actually why we pulled out, though. That's my concern, you know. We don't know if that's
what you think all the reports are just lies then?
Well, but the problem is there's also reports that say the opposite. At Paris, they're apparently saying they're only paying him 3.4 million, actually less than we offered. Who knows what's true?
They're the ones also saying that we're trying to put a stake in Sporting Lisbon or something.
And now Adam Grafton from The Athletic, I'm not sure if you've seen it, Lewis, he came out like, what, half hour ago? He's saying that, yeah, PSG were about to write to UEFA until we pulled out about our investment in Sporting. So basically, that's why I'm like, oh, PSG are blackmailing us or blackmailed us. Like, it's all kicking off, man. It's absolutely all kicking off. And I'm still concerned because, yeah, I mean, you talk about wage structure there, but if we're not willing to pay Ugarte, how on earth do we ever imagine of getting Caicedo? You know, like, life ain't like, at least according to PSG.
Do we know what Caicedo's asking for?
No, probably not. What's going to cost 100 mil or 80 mil? Certainly a lot more than Ugarte will cost in transfer fee, right? So it just concerns me. And against PSG, at least we had the advantage of us being Premier League. If we're fighting Arsenal for a signing, we don't have that benefit either. So if we're then not willing to pay up or not able to pay up, so I don't know. I agree with you, bro, Lewis. I agree that if it is actually a case of it was the 10 mil, which is why we didn't match it and that's why we pulled out, I agree. That is acceptable, and I'm like, I understand why you did that, even if it made us look a bit silly. But in the grand scheme,
it's like there's other options there. There's Caicedo, like we're looking at. We're meant to be looking at Manu Kone as well. There's Lavia. I'm sure there's plenty of other options. Like, we're not scouts. We're not going to have 10 names off the bat for you. But
yeah,
I believe that we have been told all year that the three main areas that we're looking at is goalkeeper, midfield, and striker. I expect them to have multiple players that they're looking at in each of those positions. Right now, to me, it's June the 5th. We missed one target. It's a shame. Hold the L and we move on. If this was August the 15th, fair enough. I understand the
Lewis,
panic.
can I ask you one thing? Do
Too
you remember
early.
2017? When we
Yep.
had all these targets, and then one of these targets ended up being Danny Drinkwater and Timur Bakayoko. That's what I'm concerned about. Yeah, we will have multiple targets, but the further get down we go that list, the worse they will be. And then,
I understand that, but we've only gone one name down. If we start going 2 or 3, cool.
Rice
But,
is already
the
gone.
3 names we're hearing about was Lavia, Caicedo, Ugarte, and you could even say Kone. I'm happy with 2 of the 3 of that list. So let's see what happens with those other 3.
Who's the one you're not happy with that list?
What? Well, I mean, Ugarte is
You're just
gone.
saying 2 of any of them.
Yeah, any 2 out of the 3 I'm happy with.
I mean, I won't claim to know enough about Kone to say whether I'm going to be happy with that or not. I'll be honest. Once we get more serious things, I'll do more research and then know my shit better. Charlie, I was just on your channel, so let me go to Pice first. Hopefully the internet works now. Appreciate you coming on, Pice, as always, bro. I will just bring up the roundup from yesterday, because before we get into today's stuff and about the blackmail and whatever PSG are doing, let's get through and try to summarize everything that happened yesterday after we were live. Obviously, a lot of this we discussed yesterday on stream already. Havertz and Real Madrid, Mason Mount bidding 50 million. We knew that. Yes. We knew that as well. And then this is where it starts to get interesting. This came out not long after we finished streaming. This came out by L'Equipe, obviously a French newspaper. I don't know to what extent, but I assume like newspapers in England, very much so available for club briefs. But here it says, Ugarte wants PSG, but Sporting are blocking it as Chelsea are offering many things, including a minority investment in Sporting Lisbon. This was then not confirmed by anybody else, but then they went into more detail. Benedict Barley and Jose Feliciano from Clear Lake Capital are, basically Chelsea are, via those guys from Clear Lake, are negotiating to invest in Sporting. Then the Mirror in the UK has claimed that it wasn't exclusive, which it wasn't, because L'Equipe literally released that an hour earlier, but sure. Chelsea offered to invest in Sporting as part of the Ugarte deal. Sporting have now told Ugarte can only join Chelsea this summer window. And then one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden, Ben Jacobs was the first one to say Chelsea pull out of Ugarte race. And a few minutes later, Fabrizio Romano confirmed that Chelsea pull out of Ugarte. PSG offered more, and Chelsea not willing to offer more than market rate. Before we move on to other bits, what a crazy evening. Oh, Pice is gone again. Pice is back again. Pice, what a crazy evening it was. What do you make of us apparently, potentially offering investment into Sporting as part of getting Ugarte deal done? We never really knew, did Ugarte still want to join us, or did he actually prefer PSG? What? And then all of a sudden we pull out. We will get to Adam Grafton's report from today later, but when this happened last night, I was instantly like, oh, this is a weird coincidence to me that so soon after this investment in Sporting story comes out, so soon after we pull out. That to me seemed a bit of a funny coincidence and a happy coincidence. And all of a sudden PSG offered more. Just weird that no one knew about it until we pulled out. Like, when do the media know about something? When do the media know about something after clubs act upon it? Because that's not usually the way it runs. Because these journos, they come out with stories much quicker than the clubs always want. So it's a little bit crazy. And Pice's internet is like our transfer strategy. Yeah, exactly. But Pice, it was a crazy evening, wasn't that?
Yeah, it was really bad. Hopefully the internet is a bit better now. I've had to go to my phone, so I mean this won't cut off my PC. But yeah, I mean in terms of last night, it was crazy. It was just sort of, I think it just summed us up really. Like we very close to a player, and all of a sudden we pull out, and we're left wondering as to why. I guess we can all speculate. Chelsea have their point of view, PSG have theirs. As you said, we'll get more into the detail from the Athletic in a bit, Adam Grafton, but it doesn't look good, and it just leaves you wondering. Like, I put a tweet out last night. I thought, like, if this was actually Pochettino's first choice target, because we were told by a few people, oh yeah, Pochettino, he's told the board he wants Ugarte. I think if he was Pochettino's first choice target, I'm not saying we wouldn't, pay, or we would pay like 10 mil euro wages, but I feel like we would have got the deal done. We would probably got in there even before PSG. So, because obviously you got to remember, is like we had discussions with Pochettino for weeks and he would have mentioned transfers. So why were we there not before PSG if that was the case, in my opinion? So I don't know, man. I personally feel like they want a manager that it just fits into the recruitment plan and that type of thing. Whereas like other managers that demand their first choice targets, like an Enrique, was, pushed out the door very quickly by Chelsea. So I'm not so sure at all, looking back on it now, if Ugarte was actually a Pochettino target. But I'm very annoyed by this. I've seen a lot of fans online saying, oh, like he's bad player, I didn't want him anyway, like that type of thing. Like that's, like for me personally, I really wanted him. I think he had a lot of attributes to succeed in the Premier League and for us as well. So I'm a little bit frustrated that we did miss out.
Yeah, no, bro, I agree. I mean, for me, it's as much as I rate him, and I think he would have complemented Enzo really, really well. For me, it's bigger that these owners and directors keep making us look like absolute clowns. And they've been doing this for a year now, and I'm starting to get more and more fed up with it, because all year we were saying, yeah, but let's hope they learn from their mistakes. And we're in the first week of transfer business, and it looks like we haven't learned from anything. I mean, you could argue they have learned by we weren't willing to go as high with the transfer offer, but let's, for the time being, still stick with the narrative that Poch wanted Ugarte. All of the things that Poch wanted is keep Mount and get Ugarte. Well, a week into the transfer window and, a week after the season's finished, neither of those are happening. That's an amazing start to Poch. I know a lot of people want Mount gone, and some people weren't even that big of a fan of Ugarte. Fair enough. But that's besides the point. Those are two different things, what you want and what the manager wants. If Mount wants those things and we are not providing any of those, that's the worst starting spot for a collaboration that can possibly be. I mean, Charlie, do you see that way at all? Like, he wanted Ugarte, apparently. He wanted to keep Mount, apparently. Neither of those things are now happening. It doesn't exactly look good, does it?
No, it doesn't. But I think with the Ugarte thing, until we actually establish what the truth is, it's quite hard to throw this one at the board in terms of, they've not given the manager what he wants. We don't know what to believe. What is the salary PSG are offering? If it is 3.4 million euros a season, then you would have to think that we pulled out because we were worried that we were going to get done for potentially offering a minor investment in Sporting, and they were going to take it to UEFA, and we thought we better pull out the race and just accept defeat on this one. Or if it is the salary, then I haven't got an issue with it, because we've found ourselves in a situation in the past where you offered the likes of Drinkwater 100k, Bakayoko, whatever his fucking money was, and they're shit, and we can't get rid of them. And then we just end up loaning these players out year after year after year and then lose them on a free. So I respect that, it's good to have a wage structure and you want players to fall in line with it. But then where I'm also slightly out with it is that we're competing for the top players, right? Money is going to play a part in this. We can't solely just rely on the Sporting project. And when you're competing with top clubs for the top players and players that are going to be coveted and like your Ugartes and there'll be others in this summer as well, you've got to offer something that's half competitive. So whilst I respect us trying to get this wage structure in place because it's really important and it will make the business side of things a lot better, we're also going to have to accept that we need to offer something competitive and we need to offer something that's, going to be of some appeal to the player, because otherwise we're going to end up missing out on a lot more targets, because if we're not offering the money that, I'm not necessarily saying we have to offer what PSG are offering, but, at least get somewhere near on these numbers with the wages. And it's a difficult balance to strike. So you don't want to give those players anything, but you also need to understand that actually it might be quite hard to convince some of these players to come within the current wage structure, just relying solely on the Sporting project. So there is a balance to be found. And
especially when the Sporting project keeps fading like it does.
Well, yeah, exactly. Considering as this project's basically been pushed back a year because this year's been a disaster. So I don't know. Look, until the truth comes out, and we might not ever get the truth in this. If it was 10 million euro salary, I don't have a problem with us walking away. Yeah. If it was because of slightly dodgy dealings and this threat of legal action, threat of reporting us to UEFA over the investment in Sporting, then what the fuck are we doing? Because surely we knew this was going to come out at some point. So why are we even trying that in the first place? But then you could also argue, well, these guys aren't stupid. They would have brushed up on the rules and
unless they are stupid.
Well, they are, but maybe. But you would have thought they might have brushed up on the rules and checked. Actually, shit, is this all right? Because this is going to come out at some point. So it depends on which one of those two things it is as to whether the owners have fucked up on this one. And until we know that, we can't really say. But it is a slight worry to see us, supposedly miss out on or pull out of the race for one of Pochettino's reportedly top targets. Now, maybe we did do everything we could and we weren't prepared to go above a certain amount of money. That's fine. But if it's other reasons, then it doesn't look good. It's the reality.
Yeah, no, exactly. So if that is the case, and it was genuinely a case of just PSG going way higher with the offer, whether that's to spite us or for whatever other reasons, then fair enough. But if it's not that, it's concerning. Obviously, otherwise, of the roundup from yesterday, kind of the intensified effort to sign Caicedo and also Lavia and Caicedo. We'll touch on those in a minute. And before I take it to Lewis, I want to get back to Pies one more time, because to add up on this, record last night at 2 a.m. my time, 1 a.m. UK time, PSG have reported that PSG have had a huge increase to Ugarte's salary, and this was anywhere between first of all the L'Equipe report that Chelsea were investing in Sporting, and then the report from Fabrizio and Ben Jacobs that we were pulling out. This was just somewhere in between. The PSG made a huge increase to Ugarte's salary. They've gone from 5 million euros to 10 million euros. This did not go down well with Chelsea, who informed all parties they are threatening to leave the deal. Chelsea, though, want to hear from Ugarte now that he will fulfill promises made. No one's ever said that Ugarte has actually ever told us that he wants to go to PSG now. We just pulled out, and now he's at PSG. So, Pies, because obviously, as much as Record seemed to be kind of reliable in terms of the Enzo stuff and also with the Ugarte stuff until now, but they did also very much jump the gun a little bit with like Ugarte to Chelsea's done. He's a Chelsea player. That's what they said, 2 days ago? So can we just take their word for this? Because no one, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Pies, you will know this better than I do. Did anybody else other than Record report that PSG raised the contract offer to 10 million? Because if it's just them, I mean, just think about how he's actually our player right now, and they reported that as well. So I don't know if I can sit here and believe that. You're muted.
Well, not many people reported it. I don't think, if any, but Chelsea, obviously, in that Athletic report that we'll see, they've said that PSG upped the wage, and that's why we pulled out. So, also, I think other Portuguese sources said it, but I'm not sure the reliability of those. But I still trust Record, and I think personally this is why we pulled out. I think it's a sort of like up yours type thing for the Ziyech deal, personally. But I can also see what Charlie said already. Like maybe we were doing something dodgy, and obviously the threat of PSG's draft legal letter, maybe we was like, yeah, let's not get involved in this, and just backed out. So I don't think, similar to the Mount situation, right? I don't think we're ever going to hear, what the actual truth is, unless you go and, meet one of the guys at the club, I guess. And even then, they might tell you a lie. So, yeah, I think, it's back and forth. PSG's side, French sources will say one thing, Chelsea will say another. But I think Records, I think Bola and I can't remember the other one. I think they all said that PSG made a last-ditch attack to secure him. So personally, I think this is what happened.
Fair enough. I mean, in a way, I hope you're right. Lewis, before I take it to you, I want to read through this Adam Grafton tweet, because that's where I think the most interesting stuff is really from. And this is a while. There's a good thread to it. And I hope, Python, maybe you've read the article. Maybe there's even more in the article itself than in the thread. But I'll just start with it. And ladies and gentlemen, follow along. Lewis, follow along as well. And then we'll talk about everything that was mentioned here. So exclusive from Adam Grafton, of course, from The Athletic. Paris Saint-Germain drafted a legal letter to complain to Sporting Lisbon on Sunday after media reports emerged suggesting Chelsea might take a stake in the Portuguese club as part of a proposed transfer for Manuel Ugarte. Sources close to dealings between Chelsea and Sporting deny a minority stake in the Portuguese club was discussed in relation to the transfer, but PSG intended to write to Sporting for answers, plus escalate matter to UEFA until Chelsea pulled out on Sunday evening. PSG's draft legal letter cited UEFA rules that forbid one club from owning shares securities in another while participating in UEFA competitions, and expressed concern that commercial leverage, such as a stake, could be used to influence a transfer. This part is the weirdest part to me because, first of all, we are not in European competition. So right now you can't do anything for that reason. Second of all, if it's a minority stake, that's not an issue either, because there is actually multiple examples of that being the case. So, I don't know. This part I find a bit strange, but still we move on and say Chelsea pulled out after meeting release clause. They say because they felt the salary offer from PSG too high. But PSG insists the player will be paid 3.4 million euros annually, which is less than they reported that we were paying of 3.5 million euros a year. And Chelsea's offer was higher. But reports in Portugal claim PSG's offer was much higher. So again, what is it? Because Chelsea pulled out, PSG did not escalate to actually sending the letter to Sporting, but a sign of the growing tension between PSG and Chelsea after previous row over Ziyech in January. How there no way called Sporting Lisbon? All right, fair enough. Lewis, I'll start with you on this. Do you also, like me, and I'm not saying you have to sit here and claim that got to be the reason, but the timing of that L'Equipe report saying we're investing in Sporting and what within an hour, us pulling out of the deal, to me is very strange and odd coincidence. Now, it might be coincidence and it might honestly be to do with PSG just offering crazy wages. Maybe it is. But the timing of those two reports and us pulling out, according to reports, at 2 a.m. in the morning, 1 a.m. in the morning, weird. It just screams dodgy to me. I'm not sure about you, but it just screams dodgy to me. And but also PSG, like, first of all, I would do the exact same thing if I was them. And if PSG did to us what we did to them with Ziyech, I would want us to do the exact same thing to them. But still some dodgy business. What do you mean? Like some absolute grass. Oh, well, gonna write an email to UEFA. Fuck off. What is this? But still, do you at all see a possibility that we're doing some dodgy business and PSG were stopping us, and that's why we pulled out so instantly as well? Again, we didn't just pull out in the next day or two. We just pulled out 1 second to the other, and that's just strange to me. And like Charlie said, did they, like, if this has anything to do with anything, like, did they not think this was ever going to come public, that we're investing in Sporting, and that it might have had anything to do with the Ugarte deal? Because if this scares them that much, then why would you do it in the first place?
I don't know, man. Part of me thought this was PR before we pulled out, because that it was like an hour's difference between the two. But I don't know. Like we got a stake in Strasbourg that we're trying to sort out. Yeah. I feel like if there was one on Lisbon, we would have already heard about it. But I just think they offered more than what we did. It was as simple as that.
Fair dues. I mean, Pies, we read through it before we lost you again and you joined. Was there anything more to it in the article, or does the thread explain everything well enough?
The thread pretty much explained everything. I think the PSG president, or whatever his name is, Nasser Al Khalifi, I think his name is. Yeah. He said that, like, he is surprised that Chelsea are coming out with, like, oh, we don't want to pay over market value because Chelsea have already spent like 600 million euros. And he's like, that's a bit rich from Chelsea or something, sort of thing. And then I know a lot of our fans were like, what the fuck is this guy on about? You know, he spent like 5 billion. So I don't know. It seems like a dodgy back and forth war, to be honest with you. It's just an absolute mess. I mean, this is the thing about the transfer window, is you can never predict what's going to happen. You can never ever predict what's going to happen. Like yesterday's stream, we were so confident on Ugarte, and now we're talking about what's happened because we've pulled out. Like, it's just so unpredictable. It's insane.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you said a minute ago that you think the genuine reason is the high offer from PSG. What makes you think that? Is it just benefit of the doubt to your own club, which is an understandable position to take, absolutely, or if not that, what is making you think that? Because honestly, I probably trust Daniel Levy more than our owners nowadays. Like, you know, like I have no faith in them doing anything right. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if we did something dodgy and PSG got wind and tried to threaten us to, you know, cause some damage. So, I mean, fair enough if Yeah, it's true. That is a fair point. Fabrizio said this, but Pice, you and me spoke about this privately, about certain things that Fabrizio says that, so I'm not sure whether to just take his word for it either in this specific case. What makes you think that's the truth?
I just think PSG didn't want to lose out again to us, or I think a couple.
That part may be true, but they could have tried to not lose out by threatening us.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I do think it's a bit of a it's a bit dodgy that this whole drafted a legal letter thing has come out, but at the end of the day, Todd Bowley and Bedad Eghbali, from my understanding, are not even negotiating this deal. So I don't know why. If you're talking about
Bowley was there in the negotiations in Portugal.
Yeah, not yesterday, no.
Okay.
But I don't unless the people that were there were negotiating on behalf of our owners, then potentially. But I just don't see it personally, because I think if we was going to invest in Sporting, it would be through Bowley and Mendes and Eghbali. I don't think it would have been through the people that were there yesterday, personally.
That's a difficult one. I mean, I guess obviously, I always find it a bit strange. Why do they always need to fly places? Have these people not heard of Zoom or FaceTime? You can just talk to each other without flying around, ruining the environment with your stupid private
you
jets.
can't threaten them over Zoom and FaceTime. You can't hold them hostage, bro. So the boys need to go in person.
Yeah, maybe it's that. Shout out Jay, by the way. Hope you're well, bro. Jay sent me a wonderful PNG of Ugarte in a Chelsea shirt yesterday. Well, don't need that anymore, do I? Jolly, what's your perspective on this one? Obviously, we spoke about it in your channel. Now you've heard also Lewis's and Pice's views on it. How do you stand on this?
Mate, it's just like one of them, isn't it? Where one side's gonna try and make themselves out they look good, and the other side's going to be let's make ourselves look better. And ultimately, we got no fucking idea what's gone on here. Either PSG have raised it or they haven't, or we've been doing some dodgy business, or we haven't. But the fact that surely PSG wouldn't be that stupid to just draft a legal letter based off one report, because it was only one place that was saying it. This wasn't reported anywhere else. Well, certainly not from what I could see. I guess it's
the Mirror reported.
Oh, the Mirror as well. They just ripped that from the L'Equipe report.
Yeah, even though they claimed it as an exclusive. Which
no, it's not. It's not an exclusive. Maybe it's a UK exclusive, but it's not an exclusive in terms of that.
To be fair, the UK does think it's its own kingdom.
Yeah. Well, this is it. So I'm thinking, as a massive football club like PSG, are you really drafting a legal letter based off one article in L'Equipe? I just don't know, but obviously something's not adding up. But the reality of the situation is, mate, whatever's happened is we're not getting Ugarte, and that's the biggest thing from it. I don't really think all this kind of mud throwing and all that shit. Oh, we're going to report you. Oh, they might be blackmailing us. Oh, you did this, you did that.
There's a Felix tweet.
There's a Felix tweet. Oh, as in yeah. I don't know, mate. It's just, to me, mate, it's all childish.
There you go. Well, according to Felix, Kai Havertz has verbally agreed personal terms with Real Madrid. To be honest, at this point, I'm not surprised by this. I still think we should ask £60 million, but
wasn't Enzo? Didn't he go? He went well early on Enzo though, weeks too early. So I'm not saying this is untrue.
He got it right. He got it right. Let the man speak. Let the man speak.
I do find Lewis' hatred for Kai and Mason very amusing, I will say. To be fair, if it wasn't you and I wouldn't have known happiness, I would find it really annoying. But because I know you'll find it funny. But yeah, there you go. I mean,
David, not yet. The here we go. I need the here we go. I'm not getting tricked like those guys.
Not again. Maybe maybe Madrid are trying to buy a stake in us. That would be quite useful, probably. But it's a whole different situation. But yeah, I mean, go back to this.
Why do I blind mode?
One thing I think Charlie makes a good point. Obviously, why would they draft a legal letter if this was all horseshit? At the same time, how do we know that the legal letter was actually real? I guess that's equally as questionable as the whole our investment in Sporting. So I guess there's no way of really knowing that, Pies. Is there? Whether either of those things is true. It could be both. Both be true. It could only be one of them. Who knows?
No idea, to be honest, bro. I'm just as much in the dark as everyone else. on this. To be honest with you, I just want to move on from him. To be honest with you, like, you know, I really wanted him. It sucks that we're not getting him. Is what it is.
I mean, I guess it is what it is. You sound like Graham Potter over there, bro.
Literally,
That's
like,
life.
I don't know. I'm so pissed off that we pulled out. It's like I don't even want to know the real reason. To be honest with you.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, fair play. Actually, let me try this because Lewis showed me this earlier. It's a bit small, but I still like it. I still like it. We might use this on some other things depending on how big what we have on screen is. Lewis, before we went live, you were telling me that you're not that bothered, that upset by this, purely for basically the case of there's plenty of other midfielders that there are available that we could look at, that whatever else. Do you see that as realistic? Do you see that as happening? Like, where do you stand on like Caicedo now, and where do you stand on Lavia now? Like, first of all, I mean, Lavia, obviously, they got relegated, so the likelihood of that is, I guess, quite big. But because I'm sat here, I'm like, okay, we couldn't get Ugarte from Sporting Lisbon, who cost £52 million for wages of, well, our offer 3.5 mil, that's less than 70k a week. So we were not willing to go over that. How on earth are we expecting to get Caicedo against Arsenal? Like, they've got Champions League football. They, you know, we don't even have the Premier League pull over them. So as much as it's okay, it's fine not getting Ugarte, sure. But if we're not getting any, and if we're not getting any of the others either, then it becomes an issue.
See, I think Arsenal definitely are in a more appealing position than we are right now, but like, I don't think it's that big of a gap. It all depends on his preference. You want Champions League now, or can you wait a year or two? Because Caicedo and a couple other transfers, and we should be able to finish in the top 4 next season, and then he'll get his wish for Champions League. I don't think it's that deep for us. If we're out of UCL for 2 or 3 years, yeah, then maybe like we don't look as appealing. But like, I think there's a fair chance of us getting Caicedo. Just depends on what we're offering. I don't know. I don't know what they expect his wages to be or anything. But as much as I don't agree with it, I feel like Premier League proven actually does play more of a part in this sort of transfer. And I think he'd get given better wages as a result of that. But it's all speculative. There's a bunch of other, like, there are going to be other midfielders we can look at as well. Lavia, like, I feel like there's a fair chance of us getting him. Kone, I think it's between us and Liverpool for him too. I think the biggest issue is just that there's a lot of clubs looking for midfielders. So you kind of want to be quicker on that front.
Exactly, and how good is Kone? And I mean, Lavia, sure, he's a 6, but and I'm no expert on him. I'm also no expert on Caicedo, and I understand that Caicedo is the deepest of Brighton's midfielders, but also in a interchangeable situation, but also in a system that couldn't be more different from what Pochettino is going to do with us. I mean, you brought it up there. Apparently, we're turning our attention to Romeo Lavia and Caicedo. Now, this was TalkSport, so I'm not necessarily thinking this is the most reliable report, but this is what I found on Pice's page. Other outlets have reported the same. Pice, where do you stand on, you know, as much as we can either be concerned or not concerned about getting Ugarte, or not getting Ugarte, I should say. But does not getting Ugarte make you more concerned in getting any of the others?
Not at this time. I think Caicedo, I don't know. I think there's more to meets the eye. I think we've probably been talking to Brian at the same time as we have for.
Problem is talking doesn't get anything done, as we just learned.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'll have a bit of confidence. If we mess up Caicedo, then honestly, bro, I couldn't be less bothered about which midfielders we sign. Caicedo is the one I've wanted for ages. We need to drop the bag on him. Like, he's going to be worth it long term. He's so good. And yeah, we need to get that one done. I don't want us messing around trying to include these stupid fringe players that Brighton aren't going to want. You know, no Ziyech's or Chalobah's, all that type of shit. They you know, if there's a player we include, we have to maybe think about Cole on a loan. But that would be, you know, if we could get it down to like something like 70 million, because they're going to probably ask for like 90 to 100 million, probably. So, yeah, I mean, they also know we're desperate for midfielders. So we're not in a good position negotiation-wise. But on Lavia, a lot of people have reported this now. Bobby Vincent, TalkSport, by the way, is Alex Crook, who's their transfer reporter. He's quite reliable. There's a couple of others who've mentioned Lavia as well. So I think Lavia was probably behind Ugarte. I know I put something out a little while ago saying some of the scouts found quite a lot of flaws, some deficiencies, but at the end of the day, he's a talented player. He's a really talented player. A few months ago, literally every top 6 fan was gassing. They were like, "Oh my god, I want Lavia," and then like he had a drop off for like 2 months. Southampton got relegated, and no one is excited or cares anymore. So that just goes to show like the.
To be honest, that's like Chelsea fans, really.
Yeah, again, there's a lot towards Chelsea fans. The fickleness in this fan base is hilarious. I know if we sign Lavia, everyone will look at the positives, but it's just quite funny right now. But yeah, anyway, I want Lavia and I want Caicedo. If it's Lavia and someone else, I don't care. I want Caicedo. He's the one we need. And I actually think this could be really good because unlike Ugarte and Caicedo, who we were like, oh, you know, who plays type thing, like Lavia's only 19. Caicedo and Enzo could be our pivot, and Lavia would be more than happy to be a backup option, 100%. Like, it's not the same situation as Ugarte. So I think we need to get them both, yeah. Kone is more of a box-to-box player, but I think he's heavily rumoured with Liverpool. I follow one of the Liverpool pages, so I don't think we're going to get him.
There you go. I mean, I brought this up now on screen. Pice, do you have any idea, or does anyone have any idea what exactly this means? Because, I mean, Ben Jacobs said that, you know, that is some sort of clause that helps facilitate a move from Brighton, but there is no number given. So what does that mean then? So
basically, the McAllister deal with Liverpool had like so when McAllister signed a contract, it had like almost like a release clause, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's going for like really cheap. Apparently it's like under 50 mil for McAllister. Ben Jacobs said there is one in Caicedo, but Fabrizio has firmly denied this. So Fabrizio said it will be a normal negotiation with Brighton, and there's no like fixed fee that you can go to Brighton and say, okay, yeah, I want him. We're going to pay what you agreed in January with Caicedo.
There you go. So, sorry, Charlie, you had it on your stream earlier. Something with that Chalobah might.
Oh, mate, that was a bit rogue. It was from like Chelsea HQ.
I thought he was an absolute Chelsea as well.
No, mate. Not about Chalobah.
It's trash talk.
Yeah, it was Footy Insider, mate. It's not a massive. It was about Chalobah potentially being used, but it's a bit. I think it could be a bit of a lazy link, but yeah. I mean, to be honest, like surely though, like Caicedo, the number, surely that's going to be it's going to be at least 70 million because that's what they turned
more
down.
than that, Charlie.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Because they turned that down in January from Arsenal, didn't they? So it's gonna. I reckon it's got to be at least 80. There's surely there's no way where it's less than that.
Even 80, I wouldn't be too sure, but it's a difficult one. I will highlight I will get to a super chat from earlier from Swiss Daniel in a second, but before that, two other one from Coutinho, who says Manchester City are allowed to match any bid for Lavia. Does that already apply now, Pies? I thought that those things only apply from next season.
That's a buyback.
They've got a buyback in 2024.
But do they have this, what Coutinho said here already now?
No.
Do you know?
No, there's nothing for this summer.
All right. I mean, he then goes on, I appreciate the donations, mate. I appreciate it even more if you're wrong. Man City might bid for Lavia to replace fatty Calvin Phillips flop. Yeah. I mean, I hope you're wrong and you can't get involved because that makes him much cheaper for us considering they got relegated. But yeah, obviously the report has also been that Joe Shields is pushing the higher ups to start talks for Romeo Lavia. That also tells me so he is not exactly high up in our director's wishes. Otherwise, why would we have done that already? It's now his most likely destination, but Liverpool are in the fight. How reliable is that source at all, would you say?
He's connected in Belgium, so he messaged me saying, like, I've got some news for you. So, yeah, he's got some stuff right in the past. I remember, like, Batshuayi. He's just like a pure Belgian player source, so I thought I'd post it.
Is Lavia Belgian?
Yep.
He is. Is he? Fair.
Born in Brussels. And on that very note, because this is when I Googled it. Wait, hold on. Where's it from? When I read this earlier, because Romeo Lavia has previously spoken to Eden Hazard about his experience at Chelsea. Hazard urged him to take the chance if he got it. It's understood Graham Potter spoke to Lavia in January over the phone, with Todd Bowley verbally proposing a deal to Southampton, which would have seen him loaned back until the end of the season, but that idea was rejected. Well, they should have taken it because now they got relegated. Now they're getting half the money for it. So unlucky boys. Joe Shield has been in regular contact with Lavia this season. I know you just touched on him already, Pice, in terms of that he's 19. He would be arguably more suited to be to be a kind of backup. I know that next season you have a buyback, but no one else knows anything about you having any options this year. That's what we're questioning. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, over 300 people watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button for me. And of course, if you have anything else to talk about, we haven't touched on or won't touch on, use the super chat function like the other guys have. Appreciate it very much. But Lewis, Romeo Lavia, I'm not sure how much you know about him, not sure how much you like him, but is he a player that you like? But would it be a case of Lavia is only a valid option if we get Caicedo? Because say we don't get Caicedo and then we get Lavia and Kone, that would be to me like another Bakayoko Drinkwater situation. Yes, they might both be a lot more talented, sure, but in terms of how far down the list where we then have gone by then, where I'm like, do we even want these guys that much?
Yeah, like, I'm really keen on Lavia personally. From the sounds of it, I don't think you'd have to pay more than 50 million for him, which I would be hoping. And I'm not really that worried about wages. Like, I get the Ugarte situation might be a bit concerning, but again, like I said, I feel like Premier League proven does play a factor, even though I don't think that's the be-all and end-all with signings. No, but I do think it plays a factor in terms of negotiations, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. Like, I speak against Premier League proven just meaning that it's a lot better. It's a much better option because we've had players come in between that and flop. If anything, I think the Portuguese league, there's actually a good translation of talent from the Portuguese league to the Premier League. So again, it's a shame we didn't get him, but it is what it is. Lavia, I do think would work for us though. I would like to see us get him in. Does still need to develop a little bit in terms of his decision making and everything, but like that's going to come with time and extra game time and everything. And we're not going to be out of position to contend for titles immediately. So I'm not going to demand that level immediately.
The problem at 19 is how soon will he be that? Will he be that by the time he's 22? Or will he only be it by the time he's 24? Because then we're talking 5 years, 6 years.
I don't know, but like, he's already stood out in the Southampton side.
He doesn't need that much development.
In the team that got relegated, though, that's a very big difference to fight for a title.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying he's bad by any means.
He's been dominating Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea this season. He's not like a...
And they still got relegated.
The three of us...
Yeah, he's by far the best player.
Well, I think all three of us, I think Picey were there as well. Like, we were all at Southampton when they beat us 1-0. And
he was the best player on the pitch.
He was the best player by miles. Now, look, obviously, young player, there's going to be like a few consistency issues and you don't want to put too much pressure on him. And I've always maintained that, you know, we have to get a Caicedo or a Rice. And then the second midfielder can be a Lavia, a Kone, or obviously not an Ugarte now, but someone along that sort of type of player to complement the sort of the big signing. Lavia, for me, if he signed Lavia as the main signing, like that's a no for me, just because there's just not enough experience there, and I still feel he needs a bit more time to develop into a player. And I think putting him straight into that Chelsea midfield with like the expectation and the pressure to kind of transform it is a little bit too much to put on his shoulders. And yes, you could argue with better players, he probably perform better, but I just worry that if we went with Enzo and Lavia at 22 and 19 or whatever, I'm not saying these guys can't do it, but I just think there's a massive lack of experience there. I think Lavia would have to be signed as a second midfielder alongside a big signing, if that makes sense. But
I think that's not a big signing. If it is to be Caicedo, he's also only 21 years old. I'm not exactly saying Lavia isn't good enough. And someone said, Robertson got relegated. First of all, Robertson wasn't 19. Second of all, yeah, he was the best player against us, but do you want that Forest player that was the best against us? Do you want that Everton player that scored two against us?
He's also probably one of the best players against Arsenal, if that's to say anything.
Sure, but still, do you want every player that turns up against a good team every now and again? Like, again, I'm not saying he's bad, but that's not enough to say he's good enough. Like, you know, that means nothing. Gallagher turned up against great teams last season. Does that mean anything for us? No, we still all think he's awful. So, like, that doesn't mean nothing. Nothing is the wrong word, but that doesn't mean everything, shall I say. And no, guys in the chat, I did not miss Swiss Daniels super chat. I literally mentioned it 5 minutes ago. I just wanted to talk about the actual rumors first in Lavia and Caicedo before we get to a player that we haven't actually been rumored with. But now we get to it. Because Swiss Daniel, appreciate the donation, appreciate the super chat. He says, would you guys say no to Palhinha from Fulham? Maybe 25, 30 mil and dash them Loftus-Cheek if Loftus-Cheek hasn't run down his contract. Just get me a 6, please. First of all, Loftus-Cheek will go to AC Milan, and why the fuck would he go to Fulham instead? He's not doing that, but he has 1 year left on his contract. I would be okay with Palhinha. A bit older, a bit taller, a bit more physical, which I like. Not more physical than Lavia, because Lavia is hench, especially for 19, and he will only get hencher. Hencher, is that a word? But he, in terms of height, although I'm not actually sure. Actually, no, I do know. Lavia is also pretty much 6 foot, pretty much same height as Ugarte. But of course, Lavia is also 19, so he might still grow a couple of centimeters. But yeah, I mean, Pice, I'll start with you. Would you at all be interested in Palhinha from Fulham, especially if, say, Caicedo doesn't happen? Because if Caicedo doesn't happen, then where do we go? Because like I say, I'm happy with Lavia if we get Caicedo. I'm happy with Kone probably if we get Caicedo. But if we don't get Caicedo, who is the main?
I think your mic's fucked, bro.
Your mic is a bit fucked, but
also, just to say, like, there's a
my mic.
No, it's not you, bro.
Someone's mic sounds like a Cyberman. I'm not sure.
Pice, is it your mic?
No, I can hear it.
All
like
right.
my voice.
I will mute every one of you individually and let's see what happens.
I'm gonna refresh.
Hello?
Yeah, I can't hear it now.
It must have been Lewis. All right. So Lewis will refresh. I'm sure he'll be back and we'll figure it out.
Bro, it was like some robot had just appeared in the chat.
There's also a leak of the home shirt for next season. It looks a bit shit.
Lewis is your
It is you, Lewis, but I don't know why. Yeah, it's you. I don't know how it's happening, but it's something. Maybe go to settings and pick the correct mic or whatever. So something's weird happening. But keep yourself muted for a second. Let Pice touch on this. At all interested in Palhinha? Again, what do we do if Caicedo doesn't happen?
Yeah, well, the thing is like Palhinha's not like Palhinha would be like if it was Palhinha, it would be Palhinha and then someone else. Like I don't like Caicedo for me again. Like how's having this debate? Like I know he'd probably play next to Enzo and like maybe be the deeper option, but for me, like Palhinha's like a pure DM, right? Like Palhinha and Romeo Lavia wouldn't make sense. Yeah, but Palhinha and Romeo Lavia wouldn't make sense because they're both pure DMs, right? You need someone who can do both and then like a pure DM. So Lavia and Caicedo would be good. Palhinha and like I don't know, like another target would be good. Maybe like a Kone or something. But for me, I just want Caicedo. Like I don't want to think of anyone else. Palhinha and Caicedo would be really good, but then I don't know if Palhinha would be happy to sit on the bench. That's the only problem. Like I know,
and how much he'd cost, I have no idea either. Do you?
I think I saw something where Fulham wanted 50 mil, so it wouldn't be cheap. It wouldn't be cheap at all.
Wouldn't be cheap. Still cheaper than Ugarte, so Prem proven, I guess. But as I touch on Gallagher, Lukaku, that means fuck all being Prem proven. Sterling, even though Sterling is still better than most of the other guys, I will say. As much as he's been awful. At least you see, I said this about Sterling, especially when he scored those 2 goals against Forest. I'm like, Sterling can be awful, and there's still a chance he scores. All our other players, when they're awful, there is not a single hope in hell they still score. Which is like him and Lukaku, they have that. They can be awful and still get you a goal. They will be awful, but they might still get you a goal. But the other guys, when they're awful, nothing's good coming. But Charlie, what do you think about Swiss Daniel's super chat? Would Palhinha be someone you'd be interested in at all?
I like him. It's another midfielder that was at Sporting Lisbon. I think he's a good player. Again, he's going to command a biggish fee. I would say it's going to take at least £50 million, could be 60. And I don't know Fulham probably would sell. They are a selling club, but I don't know. We need to be careful. We need to make sure we get the mix of profiles right as well. There's no point just signing guys for the sake of it because we need midfielders. We have got to think about the profiles, how players complement each other and things like that. But in principle, I definitely wouldn't say no to signing Palhinha. But at the same time, I don't want to say we could do better. I mean, we can do better, but it's an interesting option for sure. But I haven't really seen any big links with Palhinha to Chelsea.
There's not been one link.
No.
Laurenz, you're on mute, I think, as well, bro.
I am. Thank you. But Charlie, you said about the home shirt. Where is that? So
absolute Chelsea.
I posted it as well. Just go on either page.
Well, as you're here, Pice, I will go on yours. But is it that one from the shop?
No.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. It's just a weird leak, isn't it?
Mate, I don't know if I like it or not.
Nah, that's not real. Look at it. It looks like a 90s kit now.
That's the thing, mate. It's the auto glass 90s retro vibe to it.
Yeah, but why then the weird, like, kind of highlighted? I guess I'll bring it up.
The normal now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, good. Yeah, it probably was just a laptop. Calm.
Very nice.
Oh,
Very
nice.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I don't mind the design. Looks nice.
I just don't like. Why is it so like?
Well, I
It's
mean,
like the
rainbow
11,
colourly
12
reflective.
it's got them like auto glass 90s vibes with that sleeve pattern and stuff.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
yeah.
I don't mind. I mean, Lewis, you posted this on your page a couple of days ago where it was like a video, or a little while ago now, but where it was like a little video of the kit, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if I still have it, but let me check my media. But I think this will look a lot better in person, honestly.
And with a sponsor on it as well.
Trust, if you get the right, that's the real question mark. What sponsor are we getting, and how is that going to look?
Yeah,
I think that looks great. It doesn't look appealing the way they put the shirt, but there it is. I'll put it up on the screen now. And yeah, big up to whoever said dark mode, because it's a lot better.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So this is basically the same thing. You see the white undershirt thing, like obviously on what we just had up on screen. Like, just let it play again. You know, this has like the white thing as well. It just looks different than here because it's not stretched out like that. Like, it basically is the same thing, just with a nicer pattern to it. So I still think it's more, because this is a real shirt. So unless this is our training kit, I think it's going to be this more likely than this, personally. I mean, Pies, what's your thoughts on this? Because I swear Footy Headlines did definitely also leak that other one before.
Yeah, no, they've said this is the updated version and it's the new leak. Just trying to get the
I still think this one, because there's literally a real life kit there. Like, where would have that come from? Who would have made that?
Go on Footy Headlines Twitter and you'll be able to see their article, bro. It will tell you more.
All right.
It's all right. It's all right.
So just bring the article up on screen. I guess I could. Is this on screen now? Yeah, there you go. Update. Footy Headlines can give you an exclusive look at the Nike Chelsea 2023-2024 home kit. It is, of course, made by Nike and will be worn in next season's Premier League campaign. Chelsea have no main sponsor for the 23-24 season yet. The 3-year deal, deal with telecommunications company 3 expires at the end of the 20 blah blah blah. Combines a blue base with white applications and a shimmering metallic gold logo. I'm not sure about the shimmering metallic gold logo. I like the rest of it, but I'm not, like, I saw it on the goalkeeper kit. We saw that already. That's
what it's based off, right? That 2012-13 kit.
Mate, that's one of our best kits you've ever had. That one.
No, I hate it.
You hate that?
No, I don't hate it.
that kit,
But
right?
it pissed me off. Like, I have that kit, right? And I hate the fact that the badge on it is plastic. I despise that it's plastic. Why is it plastic? Come on, as a badge is supposed to be stitched on and nothing else in my books. I don't know if everyone agrees with that, but why is it plastic? It just feels like when I was 5 years old and my dad wouldn't buy me a proper football shirt and I had to buy a fake one. That's what this feels like. and even though I have the real one, which I paid like 80 quid for, I still feel like it feels like fake, and I hate that one. But yeah, in terms of the template, the Nike Chelsea Football Club, blah, blah, home jersey builds on the Nike 23-24 template. I mean, that's awful in the first place. The white applications off the side make it stand out from Nike's other 23-24 kits. Okay, white navy gold sleeve cuffs around the look of the Nike. Stop repeating that bit, man. It's available to buy from July, sure. Yeah, I mean, I still hope it's the one that Lewis had rather than purely this, but it depends. I'm not sure about the metallic thing. But yeah, I mean, everyone will have their own opinions. I like this season's shirt. A lot of people didn't like this season's shirt, so I guess everyone will have different opinions on that one. But yeah, let me take this back off the screen. Open the completely wrong thing now. And what is there was something else that I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, a couple of other pieces of news before we round this one out. Just a little one. Charlie, we spoke about on your channel. I'll start with you again before I get the other boys in. That report, and we'll ask Pice after how reliable he thinks that is at all. But apparently, we verbally offered 60 million. I'm not sure if euros or pounds for Maignan in discussions for Loftus-Cheek, but AC Milan said no. You said it on your channel. He would be your favourite. But do you at this point think that will happen at all, or don't you think we will raise the offer high enough that they would consider it?
Oh, mate, Manyan would be the obvious choice for me to sign as a keeper. I think he's class. But yeah, look, it's going to cost more than 60 million euros. I think it could easily cost, or whatever currency it is, I think it could easily be 80 million, possibly 70 to 80 million pounds. Have we got that money to spend on a goalkeeper with the other positions we need to sign in? I don't know. Maybe we do, but I can't see Milan this summer selling. So, and again, I don't know how. I mean, I don't know who that guy is. I'm not saying it's not true, but obviously it's the first I've kind of seen it. I don't know if anywhere else more reputable or bigger outlets have reported anything on it. But look, yeah, it's definitely worth a go. And, you know, if we have chanced our luck by offering that money, then who knows? If it's true, maybe we are serious and we could go back in for him later on in the window. But yeah, I'd probably take this on with a slight pinch of salt. But yeah, he'd definitely be my number one target. He would be a massive upgrade for sure in goal, and someone that could definitely win us the big trophies or help us win them.
Absolutely. Pies, how reliable would you say 86 Longo is? I don't know who it is, mate.
It's an AC Milan source. His name's Daniel Longo. I know it's a bit of a weird app, but yeah, no, he's good for AC Milan stuff. He's been good in the past, but he also said in like it's like untransferable. They're talking about a new contract, and it was just like it was an idea. It's like an offer, verbal offer, as it says in the tweet. And I know it has some truth to it because, like, Fabrizio messaged me saying like they're never selling for that amount. Like, so I guess it kind of is true, but yeah. Probably something.
I mean, a couple of people in the chat saying raise the offer or offer them money plus capital.
He's unsellable apparently, according to them.
Exactly. And if they hadn't made Champions League, maybe it would have been a different story. But because of Juve's points deduction, AC Milan did finish fourth. So probably unlikely. But Paisi would be your first choice as well, I think, wouldn't he? Oh
yeah, 100%. But pipe dream, you know, not happening. Probably Onana would be my second choice.
There you go. Lewis, what's your perspective on the goalie situation? Obviously, they said no to 60 million. Do you want us to chase that further? Do you think we're then talking too much money? And if not Maignan, who would you like to see replace Mendy / Kepa / both in goal?
Yeah, I'd want us to raise the fee personally. Go for him or Diogo Costa. Like, I like Andre Onana, but from everything I've heard about him, he doesn't really sound like a massive leap on what we already have.
And he's also a dodgy character. That's my main issue, personally.
Like, if we're looking for a world-class goalkeeper, you're going to pay a world-class price. That's the way I feel about it. So spend what you need to spend on this. That's a
good point as well. Like, you're not going to get the best goalie in the world for 40 mil.
Exactly. We haggled over Alisson, lost him, and then we had to get Kepa because Courtois went AWOL. I don't want to repeat of that. I think really press them and see what they'd say for like 80 million euros or something like that.
We could do that. I guess. But yeah, finish it off with a report on good old Christian Pulisic. Charlie, we were talking on your channel that will he be able to leave? Will we get rid of him? Blah, blah, blah. But the Athletic has reported that there is a feeling Pulisic could leave for around £20 million, which really isn't a lot, but he also doesn't have that long on his contract left. I think it's 2 years. He's also willing to take a considerable pay cut to leave Italy and Premier League, most likely options. If it is, you know, one of those two, I hope he goes to Italy. Don't really care but where he goes to in Italy, personally. But yeah, as much as I'm like, if we only have Mudryk, Sterling, and Madueke, do we not need a fourth winger? Whoever that may be, Omari Hutchinson, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Ziyech. But it seems like all of them are going to go. So I don't really know. But yeah, it's good if we can get rid of him, I guess. Lewis, do you agree? Or would you somehow, surprisingly, be asking to keep Pulisic?
No, Pulisic wants to go. We want to get rid of him. It hasn't worked out for him. Lots of injuries, and I feel like he's lost confidence in his own ability. He needs to go for his own sake. Like, I'm glad that the fee's low. I'm glad he's willing to take a pay cut to leave. I feel like everything's in the makings for a transfer to happen if a club shows interest. Big up for Project Restart. And yeah, peace.
Yeah, fair enough. Charlie, similar thoughts?
Yeah, mate, he's not delivered. He's not been good enough for us. The fact that we have to go back to the Project Restart for his best form in a Chelsea shirt goes to show how poor he's been for us. I'm sure he could go and do very well somewhere else, but it absolutely isn't going to be at Chelsea. He doesn't want to be here. His head's not in it. His heart's not in it. Get whatever money you can and move on. Simple as that.
There you go. Pice, finish that one off. Not much more to add, is there?
No, apart from that fee is so cheap for a player of his ability. In my
How many
opinion.
years on a contract he got left, Pice?
I think
One,
two.
I think.
Only one.
No,
One
it's
or
two,
two?
isn't it?
One or two, something like that.
When did we sign him? We signed him in
Sorry?
2019.
I think it might be two, but it's no longer.
Yeah, it
than
has to
two.
be two because he would have signed a 2-year deal, wouldn't he? 5-year deal at the time, wouldn't he? Although that takes him to 2024, actually, so that could be 1 year left, unless he signed a 6-year deal at the time. I don't
It's
know.
one or the other.
Yeah. I mean, he's not been good enough. Simple as that.
Carefree she's a herb for his comment. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, Charles. Not sure if I'm supposed to get what it means, but I certainly don't. First, just quickly, Lewis and also a few people in the chat brought up Diogo Costa. Obviously, we were linked with him like weeks and months ago, and then he obviously, I don't think he had a particularly good World Cup in the slightest. Ever since the World Cup, I kind of turned off from him. Is he someone you like at all?
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I'd take him, but there's been no.
He's also, by the way, only 1 centimeter taller than Kepa. So everyone, all the fans constantly complain about Kepa's height. Every goalie we're interested in is basically the same height.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's also got a 65 million release clause.
On Arna's taller, by the way, but yeah. Who?
Costa. I'm pretty sure there's a release clause for him.
We're not spending that much on a goalie. We need Caicedo.
Well, this is my point.
We need a
Yeah.
striker.
And
We
this,
need-
by the way, Pice, this is why I'm like, just keep Kepa for another season. Because if you're not willing to spend enough, you're not going to get someone really much better than Kepa if you're only willing to pay 40 mil.
You get the
Sure, like an old guy. Maybe.
My Forest fan thinks he's terrible, which I said before, but
That's what I'm saying. Even Forest fans thinks he's dreadful. Do you know
Mate,
what
I think he's
for me,
decent.
it's like, does anyone think we should consider Jan Sommer for a year or two if he leaves Bayern now that when Neuer is back?
yeah, that'd be decent. I've always liked Sommer. He's decent.
What about Neuer? Would you take Neuer?
But apparently Tuchel wants to keep him, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neuer
but
was-
otherwise, obviously, if it was an option for a year or two, I'd absolutely love Neuer. But
But we've not been linked with any goal. Like the 3 goals we've been linked to: Ryan Martinez, Onana. There's no one else that the club.
well, now
have
this
been-
Manuel thing, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah, but like, yeah, there's literally there's like no like outside shouts that we know about anyway. You know, so.
Yeah. I mean, there was a Swiss. I can't remember if it was an outlet or a coach that was talking about how he thinks someone would probably leave Bayern again because he still thinks he wants to play all
What
the time.
about what's happened to the links with Kobel, the Dortmund keeper? That's disappeared.
I don't know. We have apparently also scouted him, Mamadashvili,
Oh,
from
the Valencia geezer.
Valencia.
Yeah.
Georgian goalkeeper. I don't know. Pice has left us again. Poor Wi-Fi. But yeah, to be honest, guys, I'm about to round this one out anyway. There's not much more else new to talk about that I'm aware of. So, I mean, we were streaming yesterday. We were streaming today. If there's more big news, we will be back tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll probably see you Wednesday or Thursday, guys. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have enjoyed this, please do subscribe. I'd massively appreciate that. Still nearly 300 of you watching. That'd be fantastic. Hit that like button on your way out because we definitely don't have enough likes so far. How many do we have? We only have 54 likes. Guys, you need to get to 100 likes right now. Like right now. Not even 100 likes.
That's this Chelsea conversion rate, guys. Come on.
Exactly. Come on. Everybody, before we leave now, hit that like button. Helps me spread these streams out to more people.
In fact, I'm going to hop on and like. Honestly.
Exactly. Really helps me out a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, please check out all my wonderful guests down in the description below. Lewis's channel, of course, is linked down below. Carefree Lewis G, as you can see. Charlie's channel, Chelsea, CFC Blue Brother. Sorry, I get your name. The name of the channel. The name is different than the tag, so that's why you mix it up.
Just hit the app. That's all you need.
Just hit the app down in the description, and please do also hit the link to Pice's website, londonsfirst.com, as well as his Twitter, which are also down in the description. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.